Welcome to another dreadful side quest where we dive into some of the world's most dark and strange topics. My name is Vlad and I welcome you to the Amityville Horror House. Now, before we start this video, I want to say this is gonna be fun. This is a really fun case. This is a case that has always interested me. See this shit right here? This right here? I wrote this when I was 13. It's a whole description of the entire case. Why my fucked up 13-year-old brain was doing that at the time, I'm not sure, but that's not what we're here to dive into today. So without further ado, let's begin this video. In 1975, the Lutz family moved into a home that went by the name the Defeo home. They decided to move in only 13 months after the Defeo murders happened. That's a real big time crunch there. Like, if you're moving into a house 13 months after one of the most gruesome murders in all of America happened, you're down bad for a house. That's wild. These murders were one of the most famous cases ever documented. A father murdered his wife and 5 kids by shooting them in the head with a shotgun at 3:15 in the morning. The father claimed that something was controlling him to kill his family. What a sweet guy. As the Lutz family was unpacking their stuff from their moving van, a preacher arrived at the house to bless it. The priest went up the stairs to the 2nd floor and into the room that originally belonged to Mark and John Defeo and started to sprinkle holy water around. As soon as he did this, a voice told him to get out, which he did in a hurry. Okay, so classic spooky stuff happening already, very, very close to when the family moved in. That's promising. The priest warned the Lutz family about the voice that he had heard. He told them not to let anybody use the upstairs bedroom as a sleeping location, and the family listened to him and decided to turn that room into a sewing room. I mean, work with what you got, you know? Even if it means a whole family was murdered inside of this bedroom. Not in this bedroom, but children were murdered in this bedroom. On the very first night at the house, the Lutz family was feeling very strange sensations, and within days, the whole family's environment changed and arguments would burst out very often. Yeah, ghosts are known for manipulating people into fighting and stuff like that. My friend Jerry over there, he's a ghost. He'll tell you, hey Jerry, did you ever fight with your family? Like, what happened to you? You just kind of showed up one day.
My family killed my favorite gerbil, so I fucked them up, and then I ate their faces, and after that, I took out their eyes with a teaspoon, so they felt every bit of pain. So now I'm here watching you make your shitty content.
I regret asking. The father was tormented by a constant chill and spent all of his time by the fireplace, and the mother's health drastically dropped quickly. The young daughter started to spend all of her time in her room playing with an imaginary friend who she described as a red-eyed pig named Jody. She says that Jody told her that he would only appear to people that he wanted them to see him. I'm trying to think back. If I was very young, say 5 or something like that, and I had an imaginary friend that was a pig with red eyes, would I logically go play with him? I'm trying to debunk some stuff here. Nah, I don't think I'd play with a red-eyed pig. That seems, even for my 5-year-old self, that seems kind of gruesome, you know? I don't think I'd do that. Black stains would appear on the toilets, and the mother would be touched by strange forces. Hundreds of flies would appear around the sewing room during the wintertime, and the father would wake up a lot of nights exactly at 3:15 in the morning, the time of the murders. One time, he woke up to see that his wife had transformed into a 90-year-old woman. What? Nah, that might be the scariest part of this whole story. If I woke up and my significant other was now 90 for whatever reason, that's terrifying. That would scare me more than any ghost, I'm just saying. The next night, he woke up to his wife levitating off the bed. Okay, yeah, classic evil spirit vibes going on here. The family decided to do something about the activity around the house, so they went around the house reciting quotes from the Bible. During this, multiple unseen voices rang out around the house telling them to stop. On their final night in the house, very loud banging was heard in the house as well as a whole marching band. What? This feels like something out of a cartoon, like the whole family's just in the living room like, the voices, they won't stop! And then all of a sudden, just across the whole living room comes a marching band, just, you know? Oh God, that's pretty damn funny, I'm not gonna lie. Also, if I'm sniffling a little bit, I'm kind of sick right now, I apologize. You're probably like, ugh, his boogers are everywhere. They're not, I'm sick. We all get sick, shut up. Furniture was moving around, terrorizing the kids. After 28 days of living in the house, the Lutz family could take no more and immediately moved out, never to return. So that was kind of a rundown of the main story, of the main pieces of information that you need to know to be able to understand what was happening in this house. There's a lot more details to it, and I'm about to go over those next. Scanning this article I'm reading right now about the house's price was reduced to $80,000 due to the murders. I'm telling you, I gotta find myself a house that has some murders going on in it. I want that price. That's some good ass money to pay right there for a house. And for those of you who don't believe in ghosts, I just wanted to say that these murders did in fact happen. While you might not believe in the paranormal, the murders are in fact documented. A man did kill his entire family in this house. It was one of the most gruesome murders in all of America, and I'm pretty sure it still is to this day. But yeah, I hope you find that a little bit interesting, even if you're not too keen on the paranormal subject. So next, I just want to go into some little details about the family that I didn't go over in the main summarization of the entire case. So the stepfather, George Lutz, had a history of dabbling in cults and stuff like that, apparently. And like I said before, George did wake up at 3:15 in the morning constantly, which was the time of the murders that happened with the previous family in that house. And like I mentioned before, the Lutz family claimed to smell strange odors, see green slime oozing out of the walls and keyholes, and experience cold spots in certain areas of the house. So yeah, just like your classic ghost behavior, nothing too crazy for that as far as that goes. Now, something I did forget to mention is that they did try to call the priest back, but he was pretty much just like, hell no. Y'all are on your own. I've been in that house. I've seen the shit that happened. I ain't going back there. So the family was kind of screwed as far as religious aspects go. Now, other paranormal activity: a nearby garage door opening and closing, an invisible spirit knocking a knife down in the kitchen, a pig-like creature with red eyes, Jody, staring down at George and his son Daniel from a window. That's terrifying. Oh, that's so scary. When you start to see your little like 5-year-old daughter's imaginary friends, that's when you know you're fucked. George waking up to his wife Kathy levitating off their bed, as I went over previously. And the sons, Daniel and Christopher, were also levitating together in their beds. Okay, so there was some child action here too. The spirit wasn't just focusing on the mom and the dad like it normally does in most ghost stories. Now we're gonna go over some credibility here as to if this story was true. What do you think? I don't know if this story is true. I want to know what you think. Do you think the Amityville horror murders and paranormal activity that happened was true? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, now for some credibility. After telling their story, George and Kathy took a lie detector test to prove their innocence. They passed. And you know what they say about the internet? Everything on the internet is true. The couple was bogged down in legal and financial issues, which prompted skeptics to believe that they had motive to create a fantastical story to sell to the public. And you know, that would make total sense. I believe in the paranormal, but at the same time, think about how many paranormal stories happen to this family who's financially struggling, barely making ends meet. Think about that for a minute. Let's go over the amount of paranormal movies and stories that happened to a family that was financially struggling real quick, shall we? The Conjuring, that family was horribly financially struggling. The Conjuring 2, another family that was really badly financially struggling. A Haunting in Connecticut, that family was horribly struggling. That's a whole nother video for another day, but a really cool one at least. This one, the Amityville horror house, financially struggling. Pretty sure The Conjuring 3, they were also financially struggling. I could be wrong about that one. Fact check me on it first. But you see what I mean? There's so many different ghost stories out there that involve a family that is financially struggling, so I understand the motive. That is the one thing that has made me question if paranormal shit is real, because that is such a huge coincidence that all of these families were financially struggling. I see the motive. I don't know what y'all think about that. So Daniel, who now lives in New York, he claims that he still has nightmares because of the house and all this other trauma. He goes to therapy for it. Sorry, that sounded really rude. I was totally mocking this man. I shouldn't have. Now, I bet you're wondering, what happened to the guy who murdered his whole family in the house? I do have some information on that, so here we go. The murderer, Ron, who is still alive and serving 6 25-year sentences at a New York correctional facility, claimed he heard voices urging him to kill his family. He has since changed his story multiple times. Now, I can see two angles from this, so I'm not defending a murderer. I'm not, I promise I'm not a psychopath. But I kind of understand why he might have changed his stories during his time in prison, because he probably saw that this whole story about hearing voices in his head wasn't working for him, so he started trying to give a story that was more logical and reasonable for whoever was listening to believe. That's what I think, at least. That's probably why he kept changing his stories. But this house looks so sick. Like, just the structure of the house, kind of a farm style, a Victorian era farm style home, really sets the mood for this entire story. Like, I'm really digging it. Like, this is a cool case. Not the murders happening, that's not cool. I just mean the rest of it, the paranormal stuff, the story behind the family, the house's structure. I just think that's cool. Maybe that makes me a boring person that I'm like, oh, the house is so pretty. Like, y'all don't want to hear about a house. You want to hear about the ghosts, that's why you're here. Now, I bet you're wondering, what's going on with the house today? Any spooky stuff happening? Any paranormal gossip you want to share with us? I would love to share some of that with you. The Amityville house officially sold in February 2017 to an undisclosed owner for $600,000, which was $200,000 less than the original asking price. Good for them. Damn, that's a win. It had been previously owned by 4 other families since the murders, one of which had the address changed to 108 Ocean Avenue. So yes, the house is still standing, people are still living in it. So as far as paranormal activity in the house, current day, the owners say that they just hear small little things. They'll hear little bumps and taps throughout the night. They've heard footsteps going up and down the stairs occasionally. The flies that swarmed the house at one point, they haven't returned. They heard their piano downstairs playing once or twice. Stuff moving around in the kitchen. You know, classic spooky ghost activity. So from what I'm hearing, it seems like the evil that was in that house for some reason just decided to leave. I guess they got bored. I'd be pretty bored if an old couple moved into my house and was just sitting around in their rocking chairs reading the New York Times or whatever literally all day. Their loss of hearing probably prevented the demon from having a good time. Like, the demon's behind them throwing dishes against the wall, like cracking windows, slamming on the counter, and the old lady's like, what was that? And you know, the demon's gonna get bored, the demon's gonna move out. I dare say maybe the ghosts of the family that was murdered in that house still linger. They seem pretty chill. I'd crack a cold one with them, not gonna lie. Except the kids, because they can't drink alcohol yet. Actually, that's a good question. Kids don't age as ghosts, do they? I don't think so. That happened a long time ago, so they'd be like in their 50s by now. I don't know, I'm not gonna dive into that right now, that's stupid. But that's gonna wrap up this video. I know it was a bit shorter, I know, I'm sorry. I'm on a real time crunch these days. I'm really crunching that time, you know? But regardless, I hope you enjoyed the video. Y'all have probably already heard about this house. I hope you learned a little something new though, because a lot of people who have heard about this house don't actually know about the history. So I hope that caught your interest. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Actually, liking is the only real button. You know what I mean. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.